Jingle bells, jingle bells.
Oh, I already did that one. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays. Okay. Don't try and steal my thunder.
I'll keep my cool.
It's like, okay, you can join in. We can,
all right.
We can go caroling right after this if you want.
No. There's no neighbor that would ever accept.
Day 4. Hello, you guys. Welcome. December 16th. Another really special whiskey tonight, and I hope you guys enjoy it, and hope you recovered from the 66.6% bombshell that we threw at you last night.
Holy smackers! That was a good one.
But it was awesome. Yeah.
I'm in recoveries.
This one's a little completely different, as Monty Python would say. Something completely different. Yeah. So shall we? Without further ado.
This is one of my.
Go ahead.
One of my favorites.
One of his favorites.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to talk about this one for a number of reasons. But before we do, let's do the reveal. This one is from the Isle of Harris Distillery, and it's called the Harrick.
Or Hark.
Harrick.
Either way. It just simply means people from the Isle of Harris. So it's good.
So that word means, like, a Gaelic translation is a resident of Harris. So as you guessed, this whiskey is from the Isle of Harris. And what's unique about that? It's the only distillery on the Isle of Harris, and they're pretty new.
Yeah.
Yeah. The distillery opened in October of 2015, and they commenced production in December of 2015.
Yeah, but they started off with gin, though, didn't they?
They did, yes. Yeah. And the gin is actually near and dear to Blue Collar and Scholar Whiskey Club's heart, because one of our members was the one who basically came up with the recipe for that.
Yes, yeah. Leon Webb.
Yeah, our friend Leon Webb, who's now moved back to Scotland and is a distillery manager at Tamnagulin Distillery. And
to you, Leon.
Leon, if you're watching, we miss you a lot, and the club misses you guys, you and Lydia, and we hope you guys are doing well, and hope you have a Merry Christmas.
The important thing, just to talk about the gin for a moment and the recipe, is that Leon introduced sugar kelp as its main botanical, which I think was unheard of, and then added other local botanicals to it, and at one point, not too long ago, it became the world's best gin.
Yeah, so he was going to school at Heriot-Watt University in Scotland for distilling.
His third master's degree.
Yeah, third master's. And so as part of his schooling, he did some time at the Isle of Harris Distillery when they were getting up and running.
Yeah.
And that was when he developed this recipe for this sugar kelp gin, which has won numerous awards. It's a beautiful gin. I have a bottle of it on my shelf. And not only is the gin beautiful, but the bottle is beautiful as well. They've spent a lot of money on these beautiful bottles. And
show them this one.
This one here is the same thing.
Very
similar. It's an absolute beautiful bottle. And if you look, I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but there's actually little kind of recessed, like indentations where your hand would hold the bottle.
Yes.
And it's just like, it's so welcoming.
Hand friendly.
Yeah. Very well thought after, bottles. I think they spent quite a bit of money on their bottles. And I've noticed since then, a lot of other distilleries are starting to go that route too. They're really going to town on the fancy bottles, which is awesome in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think part of it was actually of necessity, because during COVID, and when there was certain products like bottles became scarce, they became hard to get from manufacturers. Everything became hard to get from manufacturers, and so they started looking elsewhere for bottles, and even our local Shelter Point distillery had to change it up a little bit during that time just to find a different way of bottling their whiskey and stuff. So So I think it was of necessity, but it's really panned out. There's some really cool bottles. I'm not a huge fan of the shorter bottles like this, but I like a taller bottle for some reason. It's just more appealing to me.
I like the shorter one, but then that because I'm shorter than he is.
Fair enough. So this is made with 100% Scottish concerto barley that was lightly peated to about 12 to 15 ppm.
Fennel parts per million, which is how they measure the peat.
And they use peat that is hand cut on an area on the south of Harris, of the Isle of Harris. So the peat comes from the island itself, which is really cool. And apparently the peat there has been harvested for generations. So I'm guessing most of it was used for heating homes and stuff, but I'm wondering if the Isle of Harris peat has been used in other whiskeys too.
Well, certainly not outside the Isle of Harris that I'm aware of.
No?
Anyway.
Okay.
No.
There you go. So yeah, this one has been matured for at least 5 years in 3 different cask types. So Fino Butts, which is a sherry butt. First fill bourbon. And when I say first fill, bourbon casks, when they make bourbon, they're only allowed to use the cask once. And then they ship them to Scotland to be used for whiskey. For Scotch, sorry. Yeah.
The Isle of Harris, just to add to that, the Isle of Harris actually is considered to be a social distillery. And largely because they bring together the people and the place and the history, which in this case is partly where Harris Tweed comes from. And that in this case, they have partnered with Harris Tweed, but they've also been able to attract younger individuals to become part of the distilling experience. So they've kind of slowed things down. They describe it as woven from the people and place, and they also see this as an opportunity to recognize the people on Harris, hence the reason why they call it Harach.
And so I think they've done an amazing job, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the progress of this whiskey and this distillery as their age statements get bigger and bigger. This one here knows beach bonfires, orchard fruit, ginger, vanilla, and a floral honey sweetness. That's just on the nose.
And although this is not a heavily peated whiskey, it's got a lot of complexity to it that you don't normally find in a kind of a younger, sweeter type of whiskey that we often encounter. This one is beautiful in the way that it draws your interest, it pulls you in ways that many may not be able to the same degree. But yeah, I'm very grateful for
I love how the peat smoke is just kind of like a gentle suggestion. It's not a punch in the face by any means. Beautiful whiskey, bright, delicate. You wouldn't guess this is a 5-year-old whiskey. I think it drinks like a 12, 15-year-old even. That's why I said I'm super excited about trying this whiskey as time goes on. And I hope you guys enjoyed it too.
Yeah.
So, Angela.